With over 7 seasons into his legs for the club of Man City, looks like there is a very huge club knocking at the door to obviously sign Rodri from Man City. And guess what? It's Real Madrid, and they're flaunting a £130 million bid to see to it that they secure the signature of the Spaniard known as Rodri. Welcome to the Rokani Media Football. I'm dedicating this video to Hero, a Man City fan from LA, and obviously lecturer who resides in Washington, D.C. So smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. From being sacked in the Saudi Pro League, Steven Gerrard returns to being a manager to a club that he managed before he came in through at Aston Villa. We are going to be digging deep into that. And obviously, Mateta has obviously gone ahead to get praise from the France national team manager who goes by names of Deschamps. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you've been here and you've gone ahead to put in a very huge show in here, please continue to do the needful and really put in a very huge like, because that's what we do in here. Now, Real Madrid have gone ahead to obviously put in a very huge shift, and with the problems they've gone ahead to have ever since they lost Carlos Casemiro, they haven't gone ahead to obviously get in a CDM that can obviously do the job for them. And one will say, what of Tchouaméni? What of Valverde? I tell you, they are there, but they are really non-existent, because if they're really very important and very solid in such positions, then the manager of Real Madrid wouldn't have gone ahead to obviously see Valverde being played as a right back and Tchouaméni sometimes being played in central defense because of how he feels about them. But the answer to the problem at Real Madrid has been officially found, has been officially found. And it's none other than Rodri. And it's Daily Express. Real Madrid are planning to sign Rodri for £130 million. Now, let me talk on the side of Man City. I'm this kind of person who really flips the coin on both sides. And let me first talk in the interest of City. First and foremost, if you're Man City, you wouldn't like to lose a player like Rodri, because he is the best CDM in the world. He is a Ballon d'Or winner. You all know that. That is last year, before Ousmane Dembele came in and really took it. He's a leader. He's a winner. He's all that player that you need in your midfield if you are a team like Man City to obviously control the game, dedicate play, and link the midfield to the attack. He comes in to score crucial goals for the club of Man City every time he's really needed. For that, I'll tell you, I cannot really sell him. But the future is really very important. Rodri is turning 30 years next year in June. He's turning 30. And with him having that ACL injury that really kept him out for 6 months, I think it will take time for him to get back to the levels of Rodri that he knew before he really went ahead, obviously, get that injury. You understand? And if you're Man City, you ask yourself that will Rodri match the intensity of the Premier League for the next years? That is another huge question that we need to understand in there. Because if you are to keep him, then you need to understand what it comes with to obviously have him at Man City. One, you need to pay him a lot of money. And the other big question is, will he be readily available every time you need him? Because injuries are like starting to catch up on the player. So if such really happens, then a player or a team needs to obviously make a decision that is really very wise. And what's that decision all about? I think the decision is all about selling him. I'm talking about selling him and the benefits that Man City really get for selling the player, because his contract runs down in 2027. That is Rodri. His contract runs down in 2027. And that means he's left with 2 seasons at the club of Man City. Now, Madrid fronting £130 million. If I'm Man City, with the new crop of midfielders that I'm going to bring in through, Reinders, Tokov, Nico Gonzalez, I can risk it all and say, I'm going to sell him for 130 million pounds to Real Madrid. I get 130 million pounds. I get off like 70 million pounds. I go in for Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle. Or Sandro Tonali, one of those, because all I know is that if Man City can go to Newcastle with that money, they can obviously sign this player. One will say, why not Baleba? For me, I think Man City, if you lose Rodri, you don't need to bring in a raw talent, one in making. Not really, I think you have to go in for a proven CDM in the Premier League. A CDM who is going to come in through and hit the ground running in the Premier League with the Premier League experience. There are very many midfielders outside the Premier League that Man City can get in through, but you've seen it with Nico Gonzalez. They brought him in January this year, but if they ask you, has he going to hit the ground running? The answer will be a very, very big no. You understand? It will be a very big no for you. And all they need to do is simple. They need to obviously find themselves in a position of really putting in a very huge shift to see to it that they get in a Premier League proven CDM. And to me, it's either Sandro Tonali or Bruno Guimaraes in there. Bruno Guimaraes is 26 years of age, 3 years younger than Rodri, and that's why I let Rodri go. Liverpool has already gone ahead to set a precedent that if a team comes in through with money, obviously they will see Newcastle really sell a player. Do you know that it took almost 3 months when Newcastle had rebelled to sell Alexander Isak to a club known as Liverpool? But at the end of it all, Liverpool went ahead to win the war. And of the two teams, which is stronger? I think in the recent past, it has been a team known as Man City with a huge reputation. And that's where I come in through and I say City can come in through and obviously bring in Bruno Guimaraes. This is where I come in through and tell you, if I'm Man City, I don't keep Rodri. I get in the 130 million pounds to Real Madrid, from Real Madrid, and really use that money to reinforce my squad, especially in that midfield. You can get in a Baleba, and you can also get in a Bruno Guimaraes. And I tell you, if you have a Baleba and a Bruno Guimaraes, if they cope up well into that midfield alongside Reinders with Bernardo Silva, City will be having one of the best midfields in the world. Why does Real Madrid need Rodri? Let's go to the side of Real Madrid. One, as I told you, he's the best player in that position in the world. He has won a Ballon d'Or. And if you've been in Madrid, what are they really good at? They are good at signing Galacticos. That is it. And in the recent past, they've brought in Kylian Mbappe. And it would make a lot of sense for them to really take this Spaniard back home to play for them. Why? There are not going to be huge threats of injuries because the intensity of the Premier League is not the intensity of the intensity of the Premier League is not the same intensity in the La Liga. So I think he can best suit there, and he is a player who was in Madrid for some long time as Man City bought him from Atletico Madrid in, was it 20, when did they buy him? They bought him in the summer of 2019. That is Rodri, and they got him from Atletico Madrid. You understand? And at Atletico Madrid, he had only played there one season, and City scouted him and brought him in. Those are like close to how many years ago? 6-7 years ago, and he was 22 years of age, young player in there. So for me, I would advise Man City to obviously sell off the player if the right man really came in through, because it's really very important to note that his price might really fluctuate. I support Manchester United, and I've seen a mistake made by Man United on Bruno Fernandes. I told the people who watch me onto the United Matters channel that if I were Manchester United, I was obviously going to be holding that money and let this player go. That is Bruno Fernandes. 100 million pounds for Bruno Fernandes at the age of 30, 31, I would let him go to see to it that this club gets him that money and reinforce that midfield. And it was evident that the manager of Man United had gone ahead to see to it that Bruno Fernandes is not his ideal number 10 in the two number 10s system that really plays. It's Bryan Mbeumo and Matthias Cunha that have taken that slot ahead of Bruno Fernandes, and he's playing him as a number 8, something that is going to frustrate Bruno. Now, if he understood that he doesn't need Bruno as a number 10 and he just needs to improvise for him a position in his team, why not sell him and get in a good number 6 and number 8? You understand? At £100 million, I tell you, United would have gone ahead to bring in a very good player who could serve as a number 8 and number 6. So this is what I tell Man City. Offload the player. Get £130 million and really let Rodri go to Real Madrid. Though there would be fears that you are empowering your enemy. If Alonso gets Rodri, it will be bad news. I tell you this. If Alonso gets Rodri, it will be bad news in there for you. So thank you guys for watching through, and that's what I really had as my submission for Rodri. And hero and lecturer, please come in through and really let us know of your thoughts onto whether I would let Rodri go to the team known as Real Madrid and bag in that £130 million, then you reinforce. Do you agree with me, or just that enemy of progress for the side of Man City, as selling one of the best players in the world in that position? It's really hard. But I think Baleba is set to become one of the best players in the world, and a player known as Bruno Guimaraes. That is it. Now let's get to Steven Gerrard's return to Rangers, closer than ever, with talks advancing and set to continue this week. Positive initial discussions in the last 24 hours, and Rangers hierarchy is set to meet with Gerrard to discuss further details. Now, this is where he started his managerial career before he joined Aston Villa to ruin his career maybe, and went to Saudi, and he has been sacked on his last 2 jobs. Steven Gerrard, he's trying to be a very good manager, and I really see to it that he could be. But my thought was, he really made a very bad decision coming to Aston Villa. If I'm Steven Gerrard, I would have gone ahead to do this. Be at Rangers, try to manage in France, try to manage in Netherlands, try to manage in Italy, for like his first 10 years of his career, and then he returned to the Premier League with vast experience, because nowadays a lot is not really based onto whether you were a star or what. It's based on how you manage your players. And the other key factor that I think Steven Gerrard never really considered was him working under a reputable manager. Look at Mikel Arteta. What has gone ahead to make him that good? We all know, that Arteta, has obviously gone ahead to really work out well, and he worked under Pep Guardiola for some good years. You understand? And that's why you see to it that it's very easy for him when he's managing a team known as Arsenal, as he was an assistant manager at a big team, and he has been one of the best in there, I tell you. So that's why he is one of those that he's really making success at Arsenal. And the success is really huge if at all you've been following him up for a very long period of time possible. So, to my understanding, I just have to really let Steven Gerrard go back to Rangers and let him make that cycle. Let him admit that he really went ahead to leap some steps that he would have gone ahead to obviously learn more and more and more from what would have gone ahead to be a very good side for him as a player. As a manager. He was a very good player, and I think let him go back and not really fidget. Go to Rangers, spend some 2 seasons there, go to another better team that can play maybe in Italy, La Liga, France, and then you can think of coming to the Premier League. One, the Premier League is very, very demanding, and they can sack you, because I've just got to see a story that Ange Postecoglou, who has just been hired as the manager of Nottingham, is on the verge of being sacked by Mavropanos, the owner of that team. And remember, just 2-3 weeks back, or 4 weeks back, they had just gone ahead to sack a man called Nuno Espirito. You understand? So that's it. And that's how fast moving the Premier League is. So if I told you Steven Gerrard, I see no reason that makes you Papa to come in through and play for a club, manage clubs in the Premier League. A club like Aston Villa, whose owner had told you his thoughts and his plans for obviously conquering Europe, and you rush in there, please, that was really a very bad decision made by him. That's why you see to it that Unai Emery comes in through with a vast experience, and he has gone ahead to turn things around in there. Though this season, his team is purely struggling in there. So guys, thank you very much for watching through, and let's get to Mateta. Now, Mateta got his debut this week as France went ahead to beat Azerbaijan. Is it Azerbaijan or Kazakhstan? Let me check. They are playing France was playing Azerbaijan, and he made his debut. But before making his debut, upon his invitation, or upon his summon for the France national team, the manager said, that is Didier Deschamps, that he has the ability to score goals. Obviously, it's linked to the absence of Marcus Thuram. He has been part of this preliminary list for a good while, like about 50 players. Now, Mateta is really evolving himself into a very deadly striker. And he's that kind of striker that you can obviously notice him being busy in the Premier League and really putting in a very huge shift. If you've been following up him from last season, Mateta has gone ahead to evolve, to turn out to be a very, very deadly striker. And by so doing, he has gone ahead to put in a very huge shift altogether. And guess what? With Crystal Palace, these were his numbers last season. So let's start from 2023-2024, 35 games, 16 goals and 5 assists. Goal involvement, it was obviously double, right? Then 2024-2025, that is last season, he played 37 games, 14 goals and 2 assists. This season, he has so far played 7 games for Crystal Palace, 2 goals, 0 assists, and 2 yellow cards. That is Mateta for you. And I tell you what, he's 28 years of age. He's really good, and he made his debut this week, when they're really beating a team called Azerbaijan, and that is really good for him. He has been linked to teams like Manchester United and very many others, but I know age is his problem, and I don't think that clubs that are really building up will obviously look at him. I know clubs like Spurs can obviously go in for him, but him engaging for the French national team opens more doors for him, as I tell you, the buzz is obviously going to be increasing. And I tell you what, during the January transfer window, watch the space. Very many clubs are obviously going to be linked to him because of his performances that he has gone ahead to put out as a player. Mateta, I wish you the best of luck. Now, I call in for your thoughts into the comment section below about Rodri, £130 million transfer interest registered by Real Madrid. If you are Pep Guardiola, would you obviously sanction that deal to happen? That is it. And secondly, let me know about what you think about a team known as Rangers for obviously making Steven Gerrard their manager. And lastly, Tell me your thoughts about the ongoing Mateta national team debut. At 28 years, he has finally achieved it. And that is another inspiration, that never give up. When you keep doing the right things, obviously you can meet your goal. I'm out.